What's good, Wahoo Nation? So celebrate, man. Celebrate. Oh, man. What a night last night's game was against Florida State. I think that game took about 10 years off of my life. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It was a fun game, for sure. But, man, what a night it was. And Florida State, we brought them back to earth. You know, they thought that they were back after beating Alabama, which that's not saying a whole lot. Alabama might not be that good this year. We'll see. But the thing is, Florida State, we've brought them back to reality, and they're not back. In fact, we own them, okay? Just admit it, Florida State. We own you. All right, the last three, I think we've won 3 of the last 4 now against Florida State, and another thing, Scott Stadium has been a house of horrors for Florida State over the years, just like 1995, just like 2005 and 2019. We prevailed, and all of those games were close, and each time we've come out on top. Thomas Castellanos, for the second year in a row, with him as the starting quarterback, we have beat him. We beat him last year. We beat him last year when he was with Boston College, and he was the starting quarterback then, and we shut him down. Now, we didn't exactly shut him down last night, but we did what we needed to do. We just done what we had to do, man. And so I'm very proud of this team. I love what I'm seeing out of this team so far. And so with that, I will do a state of the program video. And we're looking good. We're looking good. You know, we're 4-1. Should be 5-0. We should have won that NC State game, and we easily could have won it, but we didn't. But we're 4-1 now, and we're 2-0 in ACC play. Remember, that loss to NC State is a non-con game, and so that will not count towards conference play. So remember that, guys. But this team is looking good. Now, I want to talk a little bit about last night's game, and really, it's been kind of a microcosm of the season so far for us. So we're 5 games into the year now. A lot of football left to be played, but I love where this team is at right now. Now, last night's game was not perfect by any stretch. Chandler Morris, which I'll talk about him a little more later on, but, you know, he did make some boneheaded decisions, and, you know, he doesn't need to force those throws, which is causing interceptions. You know, that, you know, in the NC State game that we lost, he kind of forced that throw for an interception in the end zone when he really didn't need to, and a couple of times threw into double coverage, that caused an interception. But man, I'm very happy with what I see out of this team so far. Offensively, it starts up front with the offensive line. They have been playing very well, and it looks like all those pieces that we got in the transfer portal, it looks like it's paying off so far. It looks like it's paying off. The offensive line has been playing really well. The running game has been playing really well. And what's interesting about last night's game is that despite the fact that we were down 3 offensive line starters, we still dominated on the lines of scrimmage. We pushed Florida State's defense. We pushed them around. Jamari Taylor, that dude is a stud at running back. And really, I like what I see out of our running game in general. We have a lot of depth with Taylor, Xavier Brown, and who else? Harrison Whaley. Noah Vaughn, before he got injured, he was looking good as well. So, but Chandler Morris, you know, clearly he is an upgrade over Anthony Calandria. I think he's a better passer, even though he still needs to make better decisions when it comes to throwing the ball. But He's a better passer. He's a really good runner. I mean, he had the hat trick last night, had 3 rushing touchdowns. So I think clearly Chandler Morris is an upgrade over Anthony Calandra. That's for sure. And so where does this team stand right now? Well, as I said, we're 4-1, but remember, we started 4-1 last year, and we finished 5-7. So we cannot repeat that this year. And but nonetheless, man, it's interesting because I think now last night's game, I think that was our 7th win against a top 10 team, win unranked, and 3 of those wins have come against Florida State. And so, as I said, Florida State, we own you. We own Florida State. And Scott Stadium is a house of horrors. It has been for years, and it was last night. So, defensively, I said when I did my ACC Week 5 picks and predictions, I said that we were going to have a tough time slowing down this high-powered Florida State offense, and for the most part, we did. Now, the defense, they showed up when they needed to. They started putting pressure on old Tommy C and forced him to make some bad throws. And so, yeah, we did what we needed to do. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but we did what we had to do. And to the victors go the spoils. The Hoos are 4-1, undefeated in ACC play. Now, I'm not going to say, just yet that we are contenders, even though we are in first place. We're undefeated. We're in first place in ACC play. But, it's still early. We still got to worry about Miami. Even though we don't play Miami, but Miami looks like they're still the team to beat in the ACC. Georgia Tech's going to be tough. Louisville's going to be tough, and that's actually who we have next week. Now, thankfully, we don't have to play. We don't have to play either Georgia Tech or Miami. We do have to play Louisville. The rest of our conference schedule, I think, is relatively easy. I know we have to play Wake Forest. We have to play North Carolina and Duke and Virginia Tech. We also have a non-con game against Washington State after our first bye week. But, I mean, looking at the rest of our conference schedule, it's not difficult other than Louisville. And, of course, you got Virginia Tech at the end of the year, which we owe those guys, okay? We owe them. I know Virginia Tech is not very good this year. They just fired their coach. But they get up for that game at the end of the year, and that game might have some meaning for us at the end of the year, not just for in-state bragging rights, but for the ACC race, and maybe, just maybe, a college football playoff. Now, again, I don't want to jump the gun here, but, again, this team, we're looking good right now, but we just got to finish. And so, yeah, I'm very excited about last night's win. Like I said, I think that game took some years off of my life, but it was a fun game to watch, man. Very happy. It is a very good day to be a Virginia Cavalier today. Well, every day is a good day for that matter, but especially this day. And, I'll give credit to Tony Elliott, too. This win was big for him. I'm happy for him. I know in years past on this channel, I've been very critical of him and this coaching staff with Des Kitchings and John Radzinski. But they've done well so far. I think the play calling on our next to last drive in regulation, I thought the play calling got way too conservative, and that almost cost us the game because that allowed Florida State to get a touchdown and tie the game. But nonetheless, though, credit to Tony Elliott. He went out in the off season and turned got a lot of players from the transfer portal on the offensive and defensive lines and the running game, and looks like it's paying off. So, and of course, Chandler Morris at quarterback. So we're looking good. I like what I see out of our team so far. We just got to finish. And again, I'm very happy for Tony Elliott. This is actually here a little fun fact here. This is actually his second win. As tumultuous as his tenure has been at UVA, he's gotten 2 top 10 wins. One against North Carolina 2 years ago, and then last night. And that's actually more than what Mike London and Bronco Mendenhall had combined. And so the offense, is clicking on all cylinders. The defense last night, they did what they had to do, and they got it done. They showed up when it mattered, and that's what's important. But go Hoos, baby. Just take things one game at a time. That's really all you can say. And so that's really about it. What are your thoughts, guys, on this season? And how far do you think we can go? What's the ceiling for us? So that's all I got for today. Have a good one.